Damn, that was definitely a home run, and what better way to continue the hot streak of guests by chatting to Schalk Brits about Saracens socials, Springbok finals, and the thrills and spills of Rugby World Cup 2019. Upon reflecting on the last 9 weeks, if you told me, Robbie, that guy with a random sports podcast, would be chatting to the legend that is Schalk Brits, I would have told you to take your prediction and jog on. But here we are, and whether you like it or not, I'm rolling the intro. Hello and how are you to all you sports lovers out there? My name is Robbie Gillette and welcome to conversation number 8 of the Keeping It Real with Robbie podcast, where we chat all things on the mental side of sport, to stories, laughs and banter, whether into the old pigskin or the old leather ball, we've got you. I hope this one hits a spot and let me know what you guys think.
Rugby gets his first appearance. Schalk Brits in the number 8 jersey for the Springboks for the first time and captaining for the second time. And immediately finds Rugby in the middle of the Springbok lineup. 3 tries scored from the maul in the first half of this game. It's Brits breaking away. What an evening for him. Captain for the second time. Starts at 8, goes to hooker and scores. It's forced it. And now it comes for Brits. Wonderful stepping from Brits and the try is scored. Second try in this World Cup for Schalk Brits. He got one in the number 8 jersey against Namibia. And now has one as today's starting hooker. The smile's never far away.
Hello, Robbie. What's news, bud?
Hey, not much. How you doing? How's lockdown? How's life post rugby?
It's quite different to what I'm actually used to.
No, I can imagine.
Trying to find my niche and
Yeah.
trying to grow into something that it's totally different to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
otherwise, it's not too bad. Huh? I'm getting the hang of it. It will take a bit of time. But that's life. It's a journey.
Yeah, no, listen, I don't think I've had a better start to my Friday in a long, long time. I mean, if you told me 9 weeks ago I'd be chatting to the legend that is Schalk Brits, I would have told you to take a prediction and take it somewhere else. So thanks so much for coming on. I'm looking forward to chatting.
It's a big pleasure. It's a big pleasure. I've got a cup of tea or a coffee.
Oh, that's what better?
Yeah, I'm not allowed at work to make my own coffee or touch a lot of things. I have to wear a mask most of the time. It's breaking me, but otherwise I'm all good.
So are you in the office?
Yes, I'm now at room drop.
Awesome. So can you kind of just chat us through your journey of how you became pro? Like we always see it's like Schalk Brits, the World Cup winning hooker in 2019, but like kind of if like rugby at school, so you're like Paul Roos, and then kind of the junior stages to before you became pro at the Stormers.
Okay, well, it's quite an interesting journey, Robbie. I think with most South African boys, not most guys into sport and into rugby really. At the age of 6, 7, you start playing contact. It's quite foreign to a lot of other nations. I mean, in the UK, you play tag rugby till you're 9 or 10, I guess.
Yeah.
But as a kid growing up in Mossel Bay,
Oh,
I
no
just
way.
love the game. Yeah, I love game as rugby, and then I just felt my future wasn't in Mossel Bay; it was somewhere else. Although the school there called Point High School, I think it's a good school, and the same with Otaniqua. I don't think it's a bad school. I just felt like my future is in Stellenbosch. I was a wrestler when I was younger, so quite weird. Enough, 2 of the other wrestlers that I wrestled against and with, but was a bit older, they went to Porus, and they sort of paved the way for me to go to Porus.
Okay, cool. My mom actually grew up in a small farm village. I don't know what you call it, like just outside Mossel Bay called Herbertsdale. So we used to go all the time, like to Mossel Bay, the points. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That's a great spot.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah.
Actually, my cousin is Johan Miller. My mom's a Miller, so Johan Miller
Really?
is a relation. I don't think he knows me, or I know he doesn't know me, but I'm related. Okay.
I played with him for quite a bit.
Okay.
from junior levels. So we started playing together in, well, my grade 11 year.
Okay.
Then he's yet 1 year older than me. So we played against each other. He was in Oakdale, I was in Porus. And the thing is, the weird thing is growing up like a place like Mossel Bay, you've got a lot of different interests. Yeah, I love bodybuilding to almost to a degree that my dad asked me, do I actually want to play rugby? I just rather want to surf on the weekends.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's the one great thing about Porus or the school. I guess it's the same with Rondebosch or Bishops or any good school, is they've got such a diverse group of students
Yeah.
and activities that you can be from a skateboarder to a rugby player to a hockey player to a drama student or whatever you want to be. It gives you the flexibility.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always, I never thought about going to university. And then eventually my standard 9 year,
Good choice.
yeah, I wasn't actually working hard enough at school from an academic perspective. And then I found out that rugby won't just get me in a raise. I wanted to be in a particular raise, and I have to, unfortunately, study a lot harder than I was at that time. So then I had to study hard to get into raise.
Hate it when that happens.
Yeah, I hate that. It's like quite a shock. And then eventually, you know, rugby gave me the opportunity to go to, not rugby, but hard work and a bit of rugby and a good academic results gave me the opportunity to go to Stellenbosch. And then I got sort of the best thing for me about going to Stellenbosch is actually I had a contract through Western Province Rugby Union. And I thought this is the best deal ever. I'm a student. I've got a bit of cash that normally as a student you don't have. And they pay for and I pay for my own study. So there, I think most kids at that age, 18, 19, want to say goodbye to mom and dad from a responsibility perspective. So they can't tell me when to study, how to study, and how to spend my money. It was my own my own cash. So, and I think that was great for our relationship as well. And just for me knowing that if I fail a subject, it's so bad to go in and pay your money to know that that is your hard-earned cash going into the pockets of the university.
And then what did you study?
Management accountancy.
Yes.
So that's what
you
I'm
do it
now.
all that.
No, it is, and you have to make, Robbie, you have to make a lot of sacrifices if you're a professional rugby player and a student, and then social life. I mean, the balance is quite delicate, as you want to have a student life, you want to party, you want to have fun.
Absolutely.
And like I said, play hard, work hard kind of thing. So unfortunately, you can't do all the partying. You can do certain types, and you can't do all just rugby. You have to find a unique balance. And I think now, looking back, it was probably one of the best times of my life. I mean, now it's fantastic as well. But it's at that time, it was great being financially independent. Although you don't need a lot of money as a student. If you somehow, even without money, you get drinks in the bar.
Yeah,
or
you got to find the right specials.
That's exactly. So that was pretty much our thing, just going to the right place with the best specials.
That's the deal. And then, so I always just love to play a game of who is and why. Who is the worst dressed?
Worst dressed in our team?
Yeah, or with anyone you've played with.
Anyone I played with?
Yeah.
I must say, the guy, I was pleasantly surprised, the guy that lived in Pretoria for a while and then is actually from Namibia or lives in Namibia now and played with me at Saracens, was Schalk Burger.
Yeah.
So Schalk Burger, a farmer, I was expecting khakis the whole time, and you know the farming outfits. And eventually he, I must say, he was quite a well-dressed individual, like GQ kind of thing. Worst dressed then from when he arrived and where he is now, I would say is Vincent Koch. He came with a massive mullet, at first, and he was wearing like proper high heel, not high heel, but
Yeah,
these
those
massive
high tops.
high tops kind of thing. But hey, each to their own, I guess.
No.
But now, I think London has pulled him in and helped him out a bit, so he's very well dressed now.
Yeah. I actually thought of shaving a mullet because I've got this like. So at the beginning of lockdown, I was like, cool, like no one's gonna see me for like however long. I'm gonna shave a mullet. My mom was like, you're not gonna do that. I was like, okay.
If we go into old pictures of Fran Charlot,
Yeah.
I mean, Bishop's boy comes to Stellenbosch, and he had, when we started playing together, he was he was a chubby, probably 118 kilogram mullet guy, but hard as nails.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to
You
try
gotta
to
explore. That's what I said. I was like, I'm trying to express myself. Nah.
The thing is, Vincent highlighted his mullet right at the back here, so it was.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. And then who's on Orcs?
Excuse me.
Who is on Orcs? Like who's playing music at a social or nice?
In the Springbok setup, it was pretty much Sos that was always playing most of the music. He always had a beatbox. There was actually competition in our bus. Then France Stein bought a massive like jukebox in South Africa. I mean, the thing had lights, and it was just extremely crazy. And I think in the front of the bus, sometimes Alton would play some tunes, or Herschel would play some tunes. So it would quite be different. I mean, through my career, I mean, it is a 20-year professional career. There was multiple DJs, and I must say and that is a fact. A great DJ in a team, can change the whole vibe in a team. So I mean, music has got the power to set a tone, either from a working perspective or training perspective, or from a partying, like most people know. If the tunes are right, and the company is right, and you've got a couple of beers, it's a great combo.
Oh yeah, I missed that. And then who is hating lockdown the most?
In our family or in our group?
In the group.
I'm going to refer once again, if I can take that card, that would be me. I'm a hyperactive, sit still kind of guy. And for me, I get easily distracted. So for me, I've 3 boys in the house. They're running around like crazy little men, and they want attention. Dad has always been away. Only slept about 15 days and 8 months at home. And mom works extremely hard. So when dad's at home, it's playtime.
Playtime, yeah.
Now that dad is home permanently, they go, yes, we can play. We can go crazy. And I'm going, no, dad must try to work. No. And so they don't even touch mom's door when she's working. They jump in. And of course, I'm the only child, so this is totally new to me. Is I've never understood sibling rivalry, and now for the first, I still don't understand it, but I can see it's intense. The one pushes the other on it, and it's definitely it's never the same. It's either 1 against 2 or 2 against 3 or 3 against
someone's always ganging up. And then, so who is selfie obsessed?
Selfie obsessed. It's I must say, all the millennials.
Fair.
All the younger guys. It's all those guys is quite, and I understand that. I don't understand actually as a 38-year-old, or now 39. It's a lot of the younger guys push their profiles quite hard from a social media perspective, and they monetize it. So for me, is a lot of the times I just want to be in the moment, enjoy it, and I don't even remotely think about taking a picture or video or putting on any social platform. They, the younger guys, and this I would say pretty much under 25, they make sure they push their profiles hard, and they've been told by their agents or by their managers to do that. You know, so it's for me it's something totally new. When I was a professional, started professional rugby, you didn't have Facebook, you didn't have Instagram, or so all those kind of things, or Snapchats, and unfortunately we didn't have Bumble or what's the other websites either. So it's now the boys connect quicker, and
and now are you do you see yourself as a social media influencer, or you have it just for family pics and all that?
I don't know if you can be an influencer at 39. I just put up some stuff every now and then, and for me it's quite a good way of seeing other people, catching up. Twitter, well, my perception is Twitter is a bit more information that I like, and then Instagram is almost more the sexy part where you put pictures and people tell you more what they do, and Twitter's more.
That's why I don't have many followers, huh? And then so I actually watched I think Jean de Villiers. I've been watching your stuff with Vodacom. That egg thing cracked me up on my word. Jean and Schalk have also a talk show type thing now, and Schalk was saying that like he feels sorry for the guys now with like Instagram and everything, because he kind of feels that rugby's losing like that like beer afterwards. Instead, they'd rather have like a photo. Where do you kind of stand on that? Do you agree?
I'm totally in Scala's corner. So Schalk Burger actually in the change room at the Stormers when we started playing together. I mean, there's some pictures of us together in 2002 Stormers camp. Where
I would have been two.
Right at the back of the training camp. And the thing is the older boys back then, so you had a group of amateurs and professionals, and they were sort of intertwined, and they taught you sort of more the personality part, you know. And myself and Scala, I can't nearly drink as many beers as Scala, but Scala would love after game, we'd sit down and we'll chat about the game, have a couple of beers, and just reminisce, either getting smashed or good offload or whatever. So, I mean, how I see the game and how he sees the game is similar, but in the game, different things happen that we don't know about.
Yeah.
Where for me, it's quite interesting, and this is my first experience since coming back. So I joined the box again in 2014, and it was after one. I can't name the player just for his sake. But it was quite eye opener afterwards to see there was a big difference. And then you had the Victor Matfields, and you had the extremely young or young players. Then you saw the differences where the older guys after the game sit down and they have a beer and either laugh or cry about the game. And then the younger guys, the first thing what they do is they take out the picture, their phone, and have a look what they say on social media, Instagram or Facebook kind of thing. So for me, it's I think we are still in the old ages from that perspective, and I'm happy that I didn't have the kind of influence from a social media perspective, because if you're on it, you can't ignore it. We as old boys, I can call us ex rugby players. The only thing you can almost see what they write about you is on the Sunday newspaper on Sundays after the game, and they told most of the team psychologists we had is stay away from that. So then most of the time you don't read anything, and people are actually quite polite in South Africa, not to tell you how bad you are. So, well, I'll crap you in the weekend. So they tell it behind your back.
How does that differ in the UK? Would they see you in the street and be like, you were crap on the weekend or something?
But the good thing is, in the UK, what's amazing is rugby is such a small minority. So we lived in St Albans, it's still in Greater London, and people don't watch rugby. You've got your Saracens supporter, your Harlequin supporter, your Premiership supporter, but they are in the minority in the UK. Where in South Africa, you can't move left, right, anywhere. People see the games. I think it's changed a little bit, but I can remember 2003, 2000 when I came back to the Stormers 2005. I played for the Stormers, and after the game I drove back into the security complex where I lived, and the security guard had a proper go at me for how bad I was during the game. And I went, just can't get away. Everyone's got a bad day at the office, where in the UK the focus is mostly on football or soccer.
Yeah.
And you don't have that pressure, but in South Africa you do have that pressure.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrongly, it is what it is.
Do you think you had such a long career because you weren't really exposed to that kind of pressure in the UK, or do you think it wouldn't have made a difference?
No, I think the long career is, firstly, if you look at luck, not getting injured in the right time. So, I mean, I got my go. I was 5th or 6th or 7th choice with the Lions, and literally we had 5 hookers getting injured.
Yeah.
That gave me the opportunity. So I was very lucky to get an opportunity under Franz Ludeker. And then from a career perspective, I mean, I was lucky that some coaches managed me well, and actually I started getting managed for the first time properly at Saracens.
Yeah.
Where they actually measure now of how many contact actions you had, how far you ran. So they look at from a statistical perspective where you are, and that's one of the reasons why I had a long career. And then from my perspective is doing the right things. I mean. You have to work hard in the gym. Unfortunately, I only found that out very late in my career. To make sure that the gym is actually not there just to make you stronger, but it makes you robust from an injury perspective. And then I'm not the type of rugby player that's like Vincent Koch or Schalk that he's got a great skill set, but he prefers running into people. I prefer running around people and also
spaces, not at faces, huh?
Exactly that. If you get guys that's the size of Dwayne Vermeulen or Eben Etzebeth, I prefer to pass it to the bigger guy that he runs into it.
And then so that leads me to Saracens. So first of all, how did that move come about? And then what was it like playing for that European giant? Like, Saracens are massive. So how did that come about?
So rugby was quite interesting. I was playing from 05. I signed at 05 at the Stormers, and it was the middle of 09.
Yeah.
We had not under Nick Mallett, but Nick Mallett was the director, and it didn't go so well for a couple of for various reasons. And then Rassie Erasmus took over, and we had like 2 or 3 great seasons.
Yeah.
I got my first test cap in 2008, and it was Peter de Villiers was the head coach back then. I just felt I'm not going to get any more exposure from an international perspective. Either I wasn't good enough, or they didn't want a hooker like me, but that's fine. And John Smith was in the driver's seat, and he was a great captain for South Africa. So for me, it was then I've seen every Australian and New Zealand city that I could see twice or 3 times from Super Rugby tours, and I wanted something different. Plan was for me to go to France, learn a new language, new culture, eat a bit of croissant, drink some amazing wine, and then out of the blue, Brendan Fenter said he's going to take over at Saracens.
Okay.
Then Edward Griffiths, another English South African, was the CEO, and then 2 guys that I then knew was Dominic Sylvester that I met that sort of pushed me there, and a guy called Johan Rupert. Johan Rupert bought 50% equity in Saracens, and it just made sort of just a natural transition towards Saracens. The big thing that Brendan sold to us was we're going to make memories. And it was only a 1-year contract. It was, okay, fine, I'm going to do this for 1 year with the missus, live in London, then go to France and make some money. So unfortunately, the salary in South Africa isn't good. But when I moved over, it was just more tax efficient. It was still the same money, but net, I would get out more.
Yeah.
And then that was pretty much the best life decision I've ever made, Robbie.
Yeah.
Is imagine this: you get your club, there we sit. Everyone's got name tags on. Just the season before, they've let go about, I think, 15 or 16 players. So it's a new group of players.
Brand new, yeah.
Yeah, they're the coach. Firstly, the CEO, Edward, and then Brendan stands in the front and goes, "Boys, we're not here to win." I go, "Oh my goodness, what's happening?
What have I done?
What have I done? Any guy that tells me he doesn't want to win, we're going to get hammered hard." Then he goes, "Okay, the deal is we're going to make memories. But this is from a life perspective.
Yeah.
You're more than just an individual. You're more than just a number. We're going to look after you and your families. But in return, we're going to treat you unbelievably well. But in return, you're going to work unbelievably hard." So from that perspective, I've heard that before, and I thought, okay, great. I'm in here. Let's see how this is, because you're skeptical. I've heard this story for 10 years of my professional career, and literally they went from a rugby perspective. They went, okay, fine. We're going to work incredibly hard. We're going to work less but harder. So instead of every rugby team trains 4 days a week, they train 3 days a week. There's a couple of reasons for that. In the 3 days you train extremely hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they measure how much you gym, how much lifts you make. They make sure you're explosive enough, all those kind of things. On the rugby pitch, they had things that you put behind your ear to make, to measure your contacts, GPS things. They were quite advanced back then to make sure that they could put every stat towards making sure that the product is ready on Saturdays. And sometimes you get flogged as a rugby player if you lose, or if they want to try to get you fit, but there's no reason or there's no science behind it. They took science and combined it with rugby. From a rugby perspective, they went to go find from a statistical perspective, what's going to give us biggest probability, almost like Rugby, what's going to give us the best possibility of winning. And then from that perspective, they combined those two, and it was magical. Because when I moved there was an offer from Claremont, Tigers, and it was just there wasn't an offer from Tigers, there was an offer from Claremont. But if you look at Tigers and Claremont and those clubs, they were the powerhouses back then, and Toulouse. And for me going to Saracens, they've never been successful except one season when Franchopino was there, and they was in 97, I think. So they were names, a couple of South Africans, a couple of Italians, Argentinians, a couple of English boys, and we all just mixed together, just made this work. And from that perspective, even on the 3 days training a week, Robbie, they go, okay, one day spend time with your family, and one day go further your career. And the amazing thing is, people don't understand how well they treated us. For example, I'm talking a lot now, but
no, it's good.
A lot of the boys came over from all over the world, played for Saracens. But what happens normally? You get a girlfriend, eventually get married, and the natural progression, you get kids.
Yeah.
So everyone had kids. Not everyone. The wives or the girlfriends had kids. The thing is, what's the biggest thing with kids? You don't sleep deprivation, massive influence on your performance, and of course, from a psychological perspective, happy wife, happy life. Factually, I'm teaching you this now. Remember that. So the big thing is, you don't want to get home grumpy, and you had a long day of training. So what they did is they started a creche. How crazy is this? A rugby club with a creche. So I've got 3 boys. The kids jump on the back of the car with me. I take the kids to training, come back with the 3 kids.
Wow.
Wife had time for herself, do her own thing. If she wanted to go work or go run or whatever she wants, from my wife's perspective, Kalinda time. She got Kalinda time, whatever she wants to do. Then I get back home and she's happy and there's time, and then that made a big difference. So from that perspective, it's just a silly example to show you how well they treated us. And not just that, they took us on ski trips to Verbia, Miami. They did all kinds of things, and not just for the men. For the women, they went to Tiffany's for shopping, and on a champagne trip or whatever it was. But this is a big secret. I always thought, okay, fine. They do all these things. It costs money to take us. But there was one catch. They made the environment. They created a culture that was so great that I didn't want to play anywhere else. We had an offer in Toulon that was almost double what I got at Saracens.
Wow.
And when I presented this to my wife, and she said, well, I'm happy. And that's what mostly happens is they created such a culture that you actually take a lot less than market value, and you stay at a place where you're happy. And then from a rugby perspective, we had success, and that helps.
Yeah, massive success. Huh? You guys were. But so what are some of like the most fond memories you had at the club? I know you played with some good characters there. I've seen some stuff of Jamie George, and he looks like his quality. So on and off the field, what are some of like the best memories you had with Sarries?
Robbie, this is sad, I guess, but most of my memories is 99% of all my memories is off the pitch. It's exactly this. Going into in St. Anton, we were at the Kangaroo Bar. I mean, everyone was in. I'll send you a picture where everyone was fancy dressed. And we're on the top of the mountain. Boys are singing, going crazy. I mean, that was like that trip to St. Anton was special. Then you take the Verbia trip where some boys' bags got lost, and we tried to toboggan down, and guys got lost on the slopes on the toboggan. We didn't have like gloves, nothing. It was crazy. Miami was so we did a road trip around Miami with RVs all week. There was 5 or 6 RVs. Boys just jumped in the RV, and we drove around and slept in the RVs, and it was just an unbelievable experience. And then things with the great thing about London, it's close to everything. I mean, you jumped on a plane, you stop in Croatia, went on a crew on a yacht for 10 days with teammates and their wives.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, that's the memories I can vividly remember. Rugby memories, Robbie, it's the loss of our first premiership, where we were ahead with 5 minutes to go, and then lost it, was actually not sad, because I got the opportunity to win it the year after. But guys like Justin Marshall, there was a couple of guys that never had the opportunity to win the premiership, and they deserved it, you know. And so from that perspective, it's great. But I mean, it's always special winning your first premiership, your first European, your first. Well, I've only won 1 World Cup, but I mean, that is always.
Well, some of us have won none. Okay, stop rubbing it in.
That is where my career in South Africa was pretty insignificant from a Stormers or Lions. You play semi-finals or things like that, but you never won anything. And the memories isn't the same in South Africa, although you've got a lot of friends outside of rugby. So most of your time is spent with university friends, school friends. There, it was you and your teammates.
You mentioned Justin Marshall. I've watched a couple of things, and I've heard he was like quality off the pitch, like very, very good off the pitch.
Sure, he was a rock. I mean, he's not a commentator, but I mean, the beautiful thing about rugby is not only just the shape and sizes of every individual, from a Matt Stevens that is the ultimate food connoisseur to, and he eats all and everything that is good. Where you've got other guys that's so precise on their training and diet, you know. It's luckily most of the guys that I was mingling about was mostly forwards, and they just crack on, you know.
Yeah, fair enough. Live a little.
And yeah, they lived a lot. They were crazy. So from that perspective, it's always and not just from a physical perspective, but from a personality perspective. it accommodates a lot of different individuals, from the introvert to the extrovert to the funny to the like Jamie George. I mean, just being around him is great, a great crack the whole time, you know. And then you've got guys that's quite serious like Steve Borthwick, and then you've got from a brain perspective how you've got players that analyze opposition and situations totally different. I'm quite risk adverse, not adverse. I take on risk quite a bit, and then you've got a guy like Aaron Sube that was quite risk adverse.
Yeah.
I would accept and do a lot of offloads, and sometimes coaches hated me, sometimes they loved me for that. But that's a beautiful thing about rugby, is the people that's involved with it.
Yeah. So what did Rassie say to you to get you out of retirement? And then like 12 months on, did you ever think you'd be captain in your country?
Robbie, I wasn't ever wanted to be a captain.
Yeah.
I'm not ever wanted to be a leader in the traditional way. I see leadership not always as running in the front, but actually leading from behind.
Yeah.
Simon Sinek, I don't know if you know who Simon Sinek is.
No.
He started with Y, but it's unbelievable the way. Do yourself a favor and Google Simon Sinek or YouTube the bloke. Anyway, so finished career, just won the premiership, and I'm sitting in Ibiza with my boys and my wife.
What a way to end that.
Yes, and of course the kids are asleep. Myself and my wife is sipping on some mojitos, getting stuck into some proper mojitos. And I'm sitting with my phone like this, and listening, putting some music on. Here comes a message on. I go, this is a no-name number, but I just got a text message from Rassie Kalinda. And she goes, what? I said, yes. He's asked me if I still want to play rugby. And it's an unknown number. So it's not a number I've saved. And I've got Rassie's number.
Okay, so someone's pulling a prank.
Prank, correct. So I sent back, and I text back, yes, I'm so keen to play for the Springboks. Of course, it's the proudest moment of my life to play for the Springboks. I'm the biggest, the strongest, the prettiest, the quickest, the tallest I've ever been. It's completely arrogant. So it's about, 11 o'clock in Ibiza. It's after midnight in South Africa, and I am throwing the comments, right? Like, I'm 100% sure Vincent Koch is taking the mickey out of me. Anyway, eventually after like 3-4 messages, Kalinda says, are you sure it's not Rassie? I said, Kalinda, 38 years old. If they wanted me part of this, they would have asked me a long time ago.
Yeah.
No chance. Of course, after a couple of messages, Kalinda goes, are you 100% sure? Text Vincent is sleeping in South Africa. And I go, oh, shit. No, sorry. Sorry for being such an arrogant idiot. Anyway, so long story short, there was sort of a short-term plan to help the Springboks in the June internationals.
Yeah.
Playing against England, as I know them, I know their players very well, and I know their structures very well. To help out, and then luckily enough, I was in a fortunate position where my wife said, "Go live your dream." So, I mean, from a sacrifice perspective, people don't understand, male and female, what kind of sacrifice the family makes.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't home much in 2018, 2019, and it was firstly for my kids and my wife to make that sacrifice, and then secondly, is Remgrow Rainet. So the plan would have been to do my trainee program in London and then start working at Rainet in London. Is to postpone that. So Johan Rupert or Yanni Durant said it doesn't make a difference if I start working for them at 38 or 39. So I can take 1 year.
That's cool.
That's cool. And with the studies, I can postpone my studies at Cambridge for 1 more year.
Okay.
So that was fantastic.
So it all fell into place.
it all fell in place. If it wasn't for Kalinda or my wife and my boys are saying, no, they're not keen for another journey, because it's quite selfish. I mean, I'm making all this amazing memories. I'm taking them along.
Yeah.
They don't join in all these amazing memories I make.
Mm.
Although Kalinda went to Japan for a week or what. It's unfortunate that you make most of your memories as a rugby player with your teammates and not with your family.
Yeah. And then what was
And
it?
that's how I got back into rugby.
Say again, sorry.
That's how I got back into rugby.
Oh, there you go. What a story. uh, and then what was it like being in Japan? And then I also saw like some of the non-playing staff or squad did some like analysis on teams. Did you find yourself analyzing teams quite often?
Yeah.
You weren't playing?
The big thing is, and this I have to give credit to Rassi and his coaching team. It was, he made sure that he picked the right individuals. Yeah. I mean, people run organizations. I mean, although you want to integrate the culture inside the Springboks, where as a sportsman you can be quite selfish. I want to play. I want to score the winning try. I want to, and sometimes it's because you want to be successful. You want, and that's probably why a lot of the sportsmen are where they are. The good ones is they want the ball. Michael Jordan wants the ball to hit the 3 points. He doesn't want to give it to someone else.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, rugby is a team sport. You don't just have 5 individuals. You have 15, 20, and then 23 in the big game squad that is on the bomb squad. We can have a chat about that. And unfortunately, then you have the guys that always have to deal with that doesn't play.
Yeah.
So for Rassi's perspective, it was making sure that everyone felt part of this group, you know. And the biggest thing that comes normally in between players or in between the cultures is egos, unfortunately. But he made sure that, not him, everyone in the team made sure that we are in check and honest with each other, and that egos doesn't get in the way. So that can be devastating. Yeah. So one good thing is, for example, is how most of the players trained and worked hard is that if you're 1 to 33 or 31, you train as hard as you can. But when the coach makes the decision who's going to play on Saturday, you go to your position and say, well, congratulations, I want to be in the number 2 shirt. I don't want to sit in the stadium in the final, but Rassi decided on Bongi and Malcolm. Yeah. So it's his decision. And from my perspective, it was almost quite easy as well. No, not easy. It wasn't easy. Is then to support the other 2 players to go, okay, how can I help you to kick the living crap out of the opposition, or make sure that if you, how can I say, conquer your opposite number, that gives us a bit better probability of winning. Yeah. So, and then from a remuneration perspective, Robbie, everyone got the same amount of money. So if you've got that thing where the 1 to 31 or 33 gets exactly the same, it makes it quite easy then to run it. Yeah. And what is nice is, so there was a 50, let's say for example, the 15 that played on the weekend, they train against the other 15 that actually ran England's moves or New Zealand's moves. So that's how you have to analyze the opposition to understand what they will bring the weekend. But our coaches were phenomenal. Their work ethic was special. So, I mean, we all had it on a platter to know what New Zealand or Australia or the opposition would do.
Yeah. And then, Scott, can you kind of take us through the week leading up to like the final, meeting President Cyril Ramaphosa, Jesse and Trevor coming back? I mean, it must have been a pretty special week.
Yeah, I mean, the whole World Cup, I didn't know this. I mean, we flew on a plane, normally you arrive, but this was just different. It was like the customs. I know your language is nothing that I've not ever heard, but it's totally different. Yeah. But arriving in Japan a couple of weeks earlier to play against Japan, the people were extremely respectful, extremely nice, and it was for me such a pleasure. And the food was different, and they've got rice with every meal. Every meal. I think picked up 3 or 4 kgs within the first 2 weeks.
So many carbs.
And their rice tastes different. I mean, it's just unbelievable. You know? So for me, it's the whole Japanese way, especially going over with the perception that you go have a World Cup in a rugby playing country, was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those memories that I always will cherish. And then just fast forwarding all the way through the World Cup to the final, there we played against Wales. We had a very conservative game plan against Wales, and we got a bit lucky in the game, but you need luck to win. And there we are on the final. Luck. We played on a Saturday, on the Sunday. They played on the Saturday. We only had 1 day less, 6 days to prepare before a final game. Yeah. You can't train hard. We only had 2 sessions and a captain's run, Robbie. So we couldn't change anything. Everybody thought we changed our game plan and we had new moves and all those kind of things. Yeah. You had a couple of new plays, but nothing as drastic as people thought we had. We had different plays when we had advantage, and the guys executed extremely well on the day. Yeah. During the week, it was like, okay, luckily all the pressure was on England. I mean, as they just smashed the best team in the world. Now we're going to play against them. And it was literally, okay, boys, we can just literally pitch up on Saturday and give the trophy to England. Yeah. But from our perspective, it was so great that their pressure was on there. They had a coach Eddie is a great coach. Yeah. But he sometimes gets very clever with his moves. And we as South Africans, not South Africans, as our coaching staff analysed to the 10th degree what they might bring, prepared our team very well. Yeah. And then one thing is, you should never underestimate a South African. And that was definitely when our backs against the wall, we stand up and we fight. You know, and that was a good thing about how Rassie took pressure off the players during the whole week. Is saying, you know, we talk about pressure being a rugby player. Pressure is, and there was a very personal conversation with with all the players that Rassie presented. I mean, pressure is when you don't have food on the table. Then you put what now almost 40% unemployment, 30% unemployment. People has been not involved, but people has been murdered. People has had devastation. That is pressure when you are fighting for your life. What we do as rugby players, we just play a game. Yeah. So, and we've had a lot of bad news, Robbie, in the last couple of years in South Africa. And that was sort of a way, and Rassie never spoke anything about politics. He always focused on, let's be the best rugby teams. And that's what we do. We play rugby. Don't try to motivate and inspire our nation. You don't inspire anyone by getting humped by a team. Yeah. So from that perspective, he always tried to make us play the best rugby we can. And that's how he took pressure off the boys in the final. And the boys were hungry, yeah? The 6-2 split with the bomb squad made a big difference, with Sinclair getting injured. Yeah. And then just our boys really wanted it. I mean, I think it was somewhere in the minute 20th there around, they were pounding our line, and Dwayne and Peter, Steph, and all the boys would just get stuck in there. Yeah. And then I knew it's going to take something extremely special for England to beat us. And they do have the skill set. But unfortunately, if you lose your tight in the first couple of minutes, to fight back, unfortunately, I've never seen a team concede 7 penalties through set piece and still 7 or 8 penalties and still win a game. Yeah, on international level,
especially not in a final. That's
no. And the thing is the kind of game plan Rassie sort of envisaged our team and the way we played is sort of a suffocates territorial kind of game, and it's very hard to play against when you're behind on the scoreboard.
Schalk, how are you doing for time? Are you?
Yeah, I've got about another 7 minutes.
Okay, cool. I've just put it. I have Q&A questions. There's just 7. We can just run through them quickly. I don't want to take too much of your time. So
It's nice speaking to you, Robbie.
thank you. It's awesome speaking to you. Sorry, I was chatting to when you replied. Like it was late at night. I was chatting. Like I woke up. Everyone was like, "I'm gonna do Schalk." Like, but anyway, that's beside the point. You only have 7 minutes left.
I wish I can share some stories, but I can't. Most other best stories happens on tour. I can't share.
No, well, yeah, fair enough. So if you could choose 3 guys to go on a team night out with, who would you choose?
3 guys. There's one guy that I would. Guys won't know him that well. It's a guy called Richard Barrington.
Okay.
That's that plays for Saracens. Are you referring to the Springbok side or in general?
Anyone you've played with. Anyone you've played with.
Richard Barrington. He is a British-born guy that played for Guernsey, but he is extremely rough.
Quality.
So
Quality.
he would go hard, and he can drink forever. And then he would put on a mankini. So okay, so
Criminal.
there's 130 kegs. Well, 135, I guess. So just one short story about Richard. So we are in Malta, I think. I can't remember where we were. One or other island with Saracens, and we do we do a hunt. So how it works is you've got the policeman. So like a pub crawl, the policeman, the robber, and I can't remember who the other one was. But so you go in 3 different groups. They get a head start, and at each pub you have to drink a specific drink that has been set out.
Yeah.
So I know how, probably I know how that works. But if you catch the older group, catch the younger group, then they get your drinks the whole night. It is so. The biggest thing is the first group goes and they go hard, right?
Yeah.
But it's to go hard with 3, 4, 5, probably 6 pubs.
Yeah.
And then you have to navigate all the way there. You're not allowed to take a taxi or Uber or anything. You have to walk. So they put it in a small thing, and we're all dressed up. So it's dressed up properly as well. So, we had superheroes, and he was dressed, Iron Man, or I can't remember. Anyway, so we are chasing the front group, and the front group was chasing the group before them. It is absolute shambles. When we ended up eventually in the harbour, guys were jumping into the harbour, into the water. They got pulled up by the police. But anyway, so eventually what happens is he says he loves this place so much. This is the best club ever. He said, and I said, okay, and we're talking about sacrifice. So he said, well, I'll do anything. I said, and we said, okay, get a tattoo. So what? I said, yes, get a tattoo of a Saracen sign. He says, okay, fine. But then on one condition, if you pay for the rest of the night's drinks. So a couple of guys pitch our money together. Boom, off we went. And he got a tattoo on his bum, like this big, of a Saracen sign. And I'm going, how crazy is this? The guy just got a tattoo in the night out for this.
He probably woke up with some serious demons the next morning.
Yeah. See, for me as the older generation, like the younger people, I don't know how much people still know about Schalk, but he would just sit there for hours and hours and don't move and just have a beer and chats for years. And it's easy. My generation is almost more the Schalk, Jean de Villiers, Farida Priya, that kind of group of guys, where the younger generation now is almost like a Andre Pollard, Lloyd de Jager, Ergis name of those boys. Dwayne is now more on the old side, but those boys are crazy as well. We had one last year's bull strip, Andre Pollard's toys, MCL ligaments on. We were having a Kontiki. So it just got our hand. But it was so much fun.
Yeah. I'd love to be a fly on the wall in those.
Yeah. It's great. And we had a preseason camp last year with the Bulls at Sun City, and it was just was crazy. The thing is, imagine you get 30 guys together and you add a good vibe, good music, and some booze together. It's just
Sounds like my kind of party.
yes.
And then so we got time for one more question, probably. What does your personal pre-match preparation look like heading into a game?
I didn't really prep much. I prepped during the week hard. Pre-match, I would just have my spaghetti bolognese from a diet perspective. But the other boys did most of the planning. I mean, Steve Borthwick got Unfell sorted out the plans. At the Springboks, it was Ludejaag or Andre Pollard or Sia deciding about what patterns we play where. You would have input beforehand. You look at scrums, for example, chat with your front row about it. But in general, the prep was being done during the week, and that's what I learned a bit later in life. And I guess that's with most things. I think exams as well. If you don't prep well, you get pumped on a Saturday. And sometimes you fail, and sometimes you succeed, but you just get through from a studying perspective. You know, the human race, well, not all of us, but are sort of trying to get through on the bare minimums. I one of my regrets as a student was not studying hard enough. I just wanted to get through. You know,
I feel that. I feel that.
Get the degree and be done with it. You know, tell everyone I've got a management accounting degree. But in hindsight, looking back, I should have worked hard and understood better. So for example, if you only know 50% of your work, you only know half of it. So it's one of those things. But I guess from a prep perspective, getting back to rugby, it's when you prep well, Saturdays and the pre-game and the game is a breeze. Because then you've got prep gives you confidence, it gives you certainty, it gives you time to analyze the opposition during the week, and you know what you're getting on Saturday. The amazing thing about great coaches is they tell you almost what you're getting on Saturdays. So when you see it on a Saturday, it's sort of you expect it. And the one thing that I learned through Saracens is control the controllables, is make sure your work ethic is good on the day, and then you have to bring physicality. That's the only two things you need to bring. The coaches and the how can I say, the team leaders would sort of run the game pattern or plays.
So what advice would you give to a young rugby player looking to move to the UK?
I've got good news and bad news, Robbie. Bad news is, okay, firstly, from a rugby perspective, purely rugby. If I knew, so when you're young and you grow up, everybody tells you how talented you are, or you should become a rugby player, or even if you think you're okay, you want to be a professional. But I didn't know what sacrifice it needs to take. And only at a later age in my career, I knew what hard work meant from a rugby perspective. What do you need to sacrifice? Not just about the hours, but how efficient you must be with your training. How many reps, how many time, how many rests in between. Eat like a professional, almost like a Jesse Creel. You know, you have to maximize your natural talent and combine that with hard work to become a great rugby player. So unfortunately, there's no shortcuts. And I wish people didn't tell me how talented I was as a kid. So it sounds arrogant, then I would have been a much better rugby player on the long term. Playing rugby in the UK is tricky. They've got different academies, different structures to get through. And let's be honest, it's quite hard if you haven't been seen at school or at university, then to come through a club level and become a professional, not a professional, but a top class. And then secondly, South Africans that want to play abroad, they've made it so difficult now. We went over to the UK on highly skilled as you needed a degree to go over, a bachelor's in something. Now you need an M, and you have to work in that particular industry. So I can't do what I did in 2009, go over as accountant and then play rugby.
Yeah.
So that makes it a lot difficult to actually get access. Now there's a lot easier ways. I think the better ways now to do it is go play at Oxford, Cambridge, or one of those. They want great rugby players, or go to Yale or Harvard in the US, and then sort of go through that route. Then you've got a great education. And if rugby doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. But if you want to be professional, almost as easy to do France. It's easy to get in. Italy is easy to get in. Or you must hope your mom or dad or uncle or
that passport
grandma got a passport somewhere. So it's I get asked that question a lot, Robbie, is how do I get into the UK? And it's tough.
Yeah. Schalk, thanks so much for joining and chatting to me. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been so cool. So thank you so much, and have a good day. Friday, enjoy Super Rugby. I'm super keen to watch highlights now. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah. And Robbie, if you can give me the secret of growing hair again, just send it across.
Yeah, well, I'll let you know a little secret. I'll send you a message.
Okay, brother.
Cool.
Cheers, man.